Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Nitin Joshi, Professor Neurology with teaching experience of 25 years, working as consultant neurosurgeon in Panvel. Today we'll discuss financial incision and suprapubic cystostomy in emergency. One may have to take financial incision in emergency while performing TORP so as to drain clinically significant extravasation in periprostatic and perivesical space by inserting tube drain so as to avoid TOR syndrome. This clinically significant extravasation in periprostatic and perivesical space can occur due to the clinically significant threatened perforation where the capsule has been attenuated significantly, or from covered perforation of the surgical capsule, or free frank perforation of the surgical capsule, or subtrigonal perforation, or extraperitoneal bladder perforation. Also, one may have to take financial incision in emergency due to accidental intraoperative bladder perforation. This intraoperative accidental bladder perforation can occur during performing of TRP, TRBT, cystolytic lithotripsy or clot evacuation. When one is performing endourology, the air bubbles may enter along with irrigation fluid into bladder. These air bubbles are actually trapped in the irrigation tubing like TUR set. These air bubbles being lighter in weight, they accumulate in the dome or fundus of bladder. So the space available also decreases, and in the procedure like TRP or TRBT where electrocautery is used, and in electrocautery the energy source is high frequency current. Due to use of high frequency current, the generation of high temperature. Due to generation of this high temperature, the air bubbles undergo electrolytic decomposition to form oxyhydrogen gas mixture. This oxyhydrogen gas mixture is explosive, causing ignition and perforation of bladder. While performing TORP, if there is significant bladder neck elevation due to secondary posterior commissural hyperplasia or due to presence of protuberant prominent median lobe between 5 and 7 o'clock, or presence of trilobar endovesical prostate during the resection near the bladder neck, if it is performed with the empty bladder, that is there is no irrigation fluid, then actually the fundus or dome of the bladder is touching the bladder neck or median lobe or endovesical lobe. So if one starts resection accidentally with empty bladder where the dome or fundus of the bladder is actually touching the bladder neck, one may accidentally resect the dome or fundus, causing bladder perforation. Also, in case of TRBT, there can be intraoperative accidental bladder perforation while resection of solid base deep tumor invasive into the muscle, that is muscle invasive deep tumor, or there is tumor on the lateral wall of the bladder causing stimulation of obturator nerve, causing obturator jerk and hence bladder perforation, or after TRBT during evacuation of the resected tumor with the use of high pressure evacuator. This is because normal bladder thickness is about 3 to 4 mm. Due to TORBT, that is resection of bladder tumor, the bladder wall is already thinned out, and if one uses the high pressure evacuator like Elix evacuator, there is a chance of intraoperative accidental bladder perforation. This is because in case of Elix evacuator, initially high pressure is generated in the bladder, and then due to generation of negative pressure, the irrigation fluid and the tissue bits or the TR chips or TRBT tumor is evacuated or sucked in. So when the bladder is already thinned out due to the resection of the bladder tumor, and if once do the violent pumping with high pressure evacuator like Elix evacuator, there is a chance of accidental intraoperative bladder perforation. Also, there can be intraoperative bladder perforation during the clot evacuation due to the same, that is sudden generation of the high pressure. Also, in case of cystolithotrity, there can be intraoperative accidental bladder perforation due to injury to the wall of bladder by the cystolithotrity probe of pneumatic lithoclast, or if you are using the sharp instrument like Mormar punch, then sharp teeth, or using the crocodile forceps, then the inflamed bladder wall may be injured by these sharp instruments, or there may be injury to the sharp fragment of the stone resulting into intraoperative accidental bladder perforation. One may have to take emergency financial incision for performing emergency suprapubic cystostomy, and this may be required when there is uncontrolled hematuria due to the damage or injury to the opened up venous sinuses while performing TURP. In this case, in order to control this uncontrolled hematuria, one may have to open the bladder and pack the prostatic fossa with long lubricated sterile roller pack, or one may have to do suprapubic cystostomy to open large hard stone where there is failed cystolithotrity due to whatever is the energy source or instrument, stone cannot be fragmented. Or one may have to open the bladder while performing TURBT when there is uncontrolled bleeding and that is not controlled by any means, even after emergency ligation of the bilateral internal iliac. If there is uncontrolled hematuria, then to underrun the feeding vessels of the bladder tumor, one may have to open in emergency. Also, one may have to open the bladder in emergency whenever there is the avulsion of ureter while performing URS, and then one may have to do emergency ureteric reimplantation with or without taking psoas hitch. One may have to take the financial incision while performing non-emergency surgeries like excision of bladder tumor or while performing open prostatectomy. Now, relevant surgical anatomy of anterior abdominal wall. The anterior abdominal wall is made up of 6 muscles on each side of midline. Of these 6 muscles, 4 are large muscles, that is the external oblique, internal oblique, transversus abdominis and rectus muscle in midline, while the 2 small muscles are pyramidalis and cremasteric muscle. Now the actual procedure, the position of the patient when you are doing emergency suprapubic cystostomy should be supine with slight head low, and as far as possible the surgeon should be standing on the left side of the patient. The actual financial incision, it is a infraumbilical transverse incision taken along the lowest skin crease or langus line, where it is 2.5 cm above symphysis pubis with slight convexity downward, with separation of the 2 recti in the midline. The U of the incision is useful where one or both the limbs can be extended upward so as to expose the lower end of the ureter or lower pole of the kidney. And so, financial incision can be combined even with modified Gibson incision for ureteric reimplantation even in emergency. So, we are taking with 20 number blade the skin crease incision 2.5 cm above symphysis pubis. After skin incision, the subcut is cut in the line of incision with cautery so as to expose the shining anterior rectus sheath. In the anterior rectus sheath, with 20 number blade, a nick is made, and then this anterior rectus sheath is separated from underlying rectus and pyramidalis muscle bluntly with artery forceps. Then the separated anterior rectus sheath is cut with cautery transversely in the line of incision. The upper flap and lower flap is to be reflected, and so 3 to 4 Alice forceps are applied either to upper flap or lower flap so as to give traction, and the holding bands between the anterior rectus sheath and rectus muscle are cut with cautery. Upper flap is reflected up to umbilicus, lower flap is reflected downwards up to symphysis pubis. The lower flap, if required, can be cut in midline. After the reflection of the two flap, bluntly in the midline, the two recti are separated with artery forceps and then they are retracted laterally. Now comes the emergency suprapubic cystostomy. Suprapubic cystostomy is making an opening in the bladder through suprapubic root and then closing it immediately once the purpose is served. The prerequisite for this is that the bladder has to be full. Normally in emergency, the bladder is usually full. In case the bladder is not full, it has to be made full. This is because if we do not operate on the full bladder, then the empty bladder is sunken into deep down into the pelvis. Secondly, with the empty bladder, the parietal peritoneum extends down, and so approach will be intraperitoneal. On the other hand, if the bladder is full, then the peritoneum gets reflected directly from dome or fundus of the bladder so that the approach is extraperitoneal, preventing injury to intraperitoneal organs. So in case of the suprapubic cystostomy, what is important is after the phalangeal incision and retraction of the two recti, then whatever is the extraperitoneal fat or the peritoneum which has extended down with sponge and holding forceps, weight sponge and holding into the sponge and holding forceps, it is reflected upwards. Due to reflection of the parietal peritoneum, approach to the bladder becomes extraperitoneal, and due to reflection of extraperitoneal fat, identification of the bladder becomes easy. The bladder is identified as a brownish colored muscular organ arising from pelvis, having crisscross muscular pattern and the presence of large diluted longitudinally running vessels on the anterior surface of the bladder. Sometimes these anterior running vessels may have to be underrun so as to prevent injury, and so they can be prior to taking the cystostomy incision. These vessels may have to be underrun so as to prevent bleeding. If there is any doubt about the bladder as the organ, then with the needle and syringe one can aspirate the contents and see that the content is only urine. Now one has to take the two stay sutures with the absorbable suture material like 2-chromic catgut on the either side of proposed cystostomy vertical incision. It is taken on the avascular area and usually it is taken with the 11 number blade in downward direction. In case of this is taken in the downward direction, this is because if we extend upward, there is chance of injury to the peritoneum. So the purpose of taking these two stay sutures or keeping the two backcock ready is that to control the evacuation of the bladder so that it should not be evacuated rapidly. Secondly, the empty bladder suddenly sinks deep down into the pelvis, so the identification becomes difficult, and the bladder which has sunken down deep down into pelvis, identification of anterior wall and the posterior wall of the bladder becomes difficult. Also, this stay suture can act as a hemostatic suture. So, keeping the backcock as well as suction ready, then holding the two stay sutures with mosquito and pulling the two stay sutures taken on the anterior wall away from the rest of the bladder. Then with 11 number stab knife, the nick is made in the bladder between the stay sutures in avascular area, and then the incision is extended down depending upon the requirement. Immediately the suction is put into the cystostomy incision, and the urine which is escaping or leaking is sucked. The rest of the operation depends upon the indication of emergency procedure. In case the emergency cystostomy is for control of uncontrolled hematuria while performing TURP due to torn venous sinuses, then the prostatic fossa is packed with long, sterile, lubricated roller pack. This lubricated roller pack is brought through the separate stab incision on anterior abdominal wall, through the financial incision, and then into open bladder, and then it is tightly packed into prostatic fossa. Majority of the times, even one requires to insert self-retaining Foley's catheter to suprapubic root, and to drain the retropubic cave of Retzius, one has to insert the tube drain through separate stab incision. If the emergency exploration is for the accidental intraoperative bladder perforation, then after putting the large size self-retaining Foley's catheter through separate stab incision acting as suprapubic catheter, the rest of the perforation is then closed in 3 layers with Vicryl 30 and 20. After closure of the perforation, light wash is given with the asepto syringe to confirm watertight closure as well as patency of the catheter. And then again, through the separate stab incision, the tube drain is inserted so as to drain the retropubic cave of Retzius. However, if the indication of the taking financial incision is to drain the clinically significant extravasation in paraprostatic and paravesical space, then only the tube drain is inserted so as to evacuate this clinically significant extravasation so as to prevent the TUR syndrome. After confirming homeostasis, the wound is closed, the patient is observed for the vitals, and patient is put on the higher antibiotics. This is because since there is urinary extravasation, there is a chance of infection. Thank you very much.